Alright, so in this video, we're going to modify a standard component family by creating a parameters and geometry in it. Okay, so what we're going to do is, I'm going to create a wall here. So I'll just create a wall like that. And then after that, I'm going to insert a door. Okay, so I'll select door and then I'll just put it here like that. Okay, so what I want to do is, okay, I'm gonna have a look at the 3D view. So let me just hide all these things. Right click, hide in view elements. Okay, so what I want to do is, I want to add a kick plate here on my door. So I'm going to add a geometry and parameter for my kick plate. Okay, for the kick plate that I'm going to add to my door. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to edit the door family, our component family. Okay, just remember, any family that you load using this tool, using place a component, is a component family. And if you select the door tool, so door is also an example of component family. Same with window. So any family that you load inside your project and then put it inside, okay, so that is a component family or loadable family. Okay, so that's one type of your family in Revit. The other type of family is system family, just like your walls. Okay, walls, you do not need to load this into your project because every time you create project, you already have a wall. Okay, so same with roof. Roof is an example of system family. So you do not need to load your roof because every project that you create, there's already roof. Okay, but for door, sometimes your project, when you open, there is no door loaded. So you need to load a door family. So that's why door is an example of loadable family. Okay, so now I'm going to open or edit my door. Okay, so you just click that. And then after that, look for the mode panel and then click edit family. So once you select edit family, it will open up your family editor. So this is the environment of family editor. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is, I'll check my elevation here. Okay, and then I'm going to open the interior view of my door because right now this is in 3D view. Okay, so let me just change my detail level to fine and then visual style to shaded. I'll just make it like that. Okay, so I'm going to edit this. I'm going to open the interior elevation. So let me double click that. And then I'm going to edit this one. So I'm going to add a reference plane first. Okay, so to add reference plane, just look on your datum and then look for reference plane. Okay, so let's click this. And then after that, I'm going to pick 1 point here, 1, 2. There you go. And then I'll just select here, modify. Okay, so now the next thing that I'm going to do is, I'm going to add dimension to my reference plane from my ground floor level. Okay, so just like this one, I'm going to add a dimension and then I'm going to put a name on it, which I will be calling kick height. Okay, just like this one. So they created a reference plane and then after that they created dimension and then they call it height for the height parameter. Okay, so I'm going to add dimension here, align dimension. So let's click the reference plane and then the level, and then maybe I'll just put it here and then I'll select here modify. Okay, so now for me to be able to add a parameter, my kick height parameter, I'm going to select the dimension. And then after that, you see if I click the drop down arrow here, you will be able to see here all the parameters in this family. Okay, so there's no kick height here because that's just a new parameter. So that's why I'm going to select this icon here, create parameter. So just click that one. And then after that, using a family parameter, I'm going to name it kick height. Okay, so kick height. And then after that, For the group parameter under, I'll just put it under dimensions. Okay, and then for the type of parameter, I'm going to select type so that the new parameter kick height will be a type parameter. Okay, and then after that, I'll just select here. Okay, there you go, and then just click outside. Okay, so let me just change the scale here. How about 1:50? Oh, no, how about 1:1? Oh, too small. Okay, 1:10. Okay, just about right. Okay, so I now have here my kick height parameter. Okay, so that's my kick height parameter. Okay, so next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a formula. Okay, so we are going to add a formula. So to do that, so we will be opening the family types. So I'm going to select here family types. So you click that, and then after that, for my 920 by 2100 millimeters, I'm going to set my kick height here. Okay, so to set kick height as a function of the door width, so I'm going to add a parameter here. So instead of exact value, I'm going to put a formula. Okay, so I'm going to use the width here, this one, width. So I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to use that on my kick height formula. So I'm going to put here a width divided by 2. Okay, so it is always safe to copy the parameter because sometimes the user tends to type a small letter, which is wrong. Okay, because if you select apply, the following is not a valid parameter width. Okay, and note that parameter names are case sensitive. So make sure it's exactly spelled and capitalized as the parameters here. So if it is width, capital H, so make sure it's capital H too, or you just copy it just to make it safe. Okay, and then after that, you see once I apply this one, look what will happen here. So 920 divided by 2, so that is what, 460. So if I select here apply, automatic this one will becomes 460. So apply, there you go, there you go, right? And then I'll select okay. So I'm just showing you that aside from typing the exact value here, you can also create formula. Okay, I'll just select okay, and there you go. Okay, right, so after we create the kick height parameter, you see if I try that, if I change the width here, I change to, let's say, 2000. If I select apply, so this one of course will becomes 1000. So apply, there you go, see? So my parameter is working just fine. So this one is 920, apply, there you go, okay. Right, so now the next thing that I'm going to create is, I want to create a parameter that will control the visibility of the kick plate. Okay, because this parameter that we created, so the height of the kick plate of the door is determined by the kick height parameter. So now I want to create another parameter that will control the visibility of the kick plate. So let's say, for example, I want to have a kick plate, so I can turn it on. So I don't want a door with a kick plate, so I can turn it off. So I'm going to add a parameter kick plate. Okay, all right, so let's do that. So I'm going to select the family types. Okay, and then we are going to create a new parameter here. New parameter. Okay, so for the name here, I'm just going to call that kick. Okay, or let's say I'll just call it kick plate. This time, I want to make that instance parameter. Okay, to make it an instance parameter. A while ago, our kick height is a type parameter. So this time, our kick plate, I'm going to make that instance. Later on, I'm going to show you what's the difference between the type parameter and then instance. Okay, so for now, I call it kick plate, discipline, common. Okay, for the data type, you make it yes or no. Yes, no. Okay, so you click that. Group parameter, maybe I'll just put that in the visibility group. Okay, our kick plate will be under the visibility group. Actually, you can select any group here. Doesn't matter. So I'm just trying to make it like organized so that my parameters are organized and grouped accordingly. But actually, you can select any parameter here. So I'm gonna select visibility and then I'll select OK. And then there's my kick plate. So by default, it's checked. So I'm going to select OK. Okay. All right. So now, after we create the parameter, the next thing that we will be doing is we're going to add the geometry. Okay. We only created the parameter, but there's no geometry yet. Right? So to do that, I'm going to select Create tab and then I'll select here Extrusions. So you click that and then I'm going to set the work plane to this face here of my door, to this face. So I'm going to select here Set Work Plane and then I'm gonna pick a plane. Okay. And then I'm going to select this face. So it's already highlighted. So you click. Okay. And then I'm going to select rectangle here. Okay, and then I'm going to pick here, this point, up to this point, and then make sure I lock it. Lock. Okay, so you padlock it so that if you move the kick height, you change the kick height parameter, our kick plate will also change. Okay, it will follow the height. And then for the thickness, okay, I'm just gonna make that 3 millimeters. So I'll just type 3 and then I'll just select here, check to finish. There you go. And then I'll just select here, modify. You see, if I go to the 3D view, so this is how it looks like. So there's my kick plate, right? So let me just change that to fine, shaded. Okay, so there's my kick plate. So if I go to my family types and then try out the width or the kick height, I change the kick height to, let's say, 500. If I select apply, as you can see, it also adjusts, right? So if I change this to 1,500, okay, I'll select apply. There you go. So it follows the height. And our parameter and our geometry is working properly. So I change it back to 920 and then I apply. There you go. So it's changing accordingly. And then after that, I select here OK. Okay, so now the next thing that I'm going to do is we're going to apply the visibility parameter to our kick plate. Okay, so you just need to select that. And then from the properties, you can see here the visible. So you click that and then you click this button here. So you click, we are going to apply the kick plate parameter that we created. So by default, it's checked, it's visible. So you click that button to associate the kick plate parameter to that geometry. Okay, and then I'll select here OK. There you go. So our door is now ready. Okay, so I'm now going to load this into the project and then override it. And then let's look at the other side. There you go. So if I select this one, you see our parameter here is on the instance property. So this is what you call instance properties. Any changes that you make here, it will only affect your selected element or elements. So let's say I put door here, another one here. Okay, so you see if I select this one and then I have the option to uncheck the kick plate only for this door, you see. So if I select that one, so I can check or uncheck, and it's under the visibility group. Okay, and if you want to see the height or the kick height parameter, remember we placed that in the type parameter, right? So that's why you need to go inside the type parameter for you to be able to see the kick height. So if I change the kick height, so if I change this to, let's say, 300, so if I select here apply, see, not only this change, but the other doors change as well. Why? Because they are just on the same type. So that's why it's called type parameter. So if I change this to, let's say, 500, so you apply, so it also change, right? So I'm going to put back my width to 920 because that's the name of the door. So I just change this to 920 and then I select OK. There you go. So if you want to have a door that is 1000 width, so what you do is, let's say you want to change this to 1000 width, look for 1000 here. So as you can see, there's no 1000 by 2100, right? So you need to create a new type. So that's fine. Just select edit type and then duplicate this and then change the name 1000. Okay, and then make sure you change the width to 1000 because that's the name of the door. And then I select here OK. There you go. Okay, so now you have 920 and then now you and 1000 type of door. Okay, and then you can also control the kick plate. All right, so that's it for this simple exercise of modifying a standard component family. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.